Yeah, so I spent 17 days, 18 days in drug-induced coma, listening to everything.
Anything from that?
Yeah, I listened to everything. I thought I was under for about 6 months because it's like living in a dream. You know, when you have a 5-minute dream and it feels like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
want to have my dreams for that long.
Imagine not being able to wake up from it. So the only time I kind of wasn't listening or dreaming was when I was under anaesthetic when they were doing surgeries. So I could hear all the beeping, I could hear everything going on. I could hear other casualties coming in and out. I could hear my parents talking to me. I found out I'd lost my sight while I was in the coma because my dad was about to drag fucking surgeon over bed. He just turned around and he's going, "Yeah, well, we're not going to worry about his eyesight. Both his eyes are fucked." And my dad says, "They're not." I said, "You can't say that for one." I said, "Because he's in there fighting for his life, and we need him to keep fighting."
Right, just before we crack on with this episode, just a quick word about our sponsor, KS Civil to the highest safety and quality standards. They're proudly ISO accredited and fully CHAS Elite accredited. No matter the size of your project, KS Civils and Groundworks delivers professional, trustworthy service you can rely on. To learn more, visit kscivelsandgroundworks.co.uk. Now let's dive back into this episode. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Tonight I've got the great honour of talking to Simon Brown. Now Simon served with the Remy, joining the Remy in 1997, and then you'll find out what happened later, but he left in 2010. Simon's got a hell of a story, and it's really impressive what he's done afterwards as well. Honestly, it really is. Hey, Simon, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. It's good to be here, mate.
Again, like I said, everyone, thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Just like some random stranger off the internet contacting you and saying, "Do you want to come and talk to me?" Yeah. I was like, "Be offering you a bag of sweets next."
Yeah. I saw a van outside with with soundproofing.
It's got cuffs in the back as well. Don't worry, you're all right. Right, so if we crack on, it's the same questions I ask everyone, right? Basically, it's where did you grow up? What was it like? Why did you join the military? What was it like? Why did you leave? And what have you done since? So if you just give everyone who's listening just a general outline of what it was like where you grew up and what made you join the military.
So I grew up at a council estate in Leeds, secondary comprehensive, like most of us, strong recruiting grounds, weren't there, for military. A great family. My dad was ex-RAF. My mum had grown up as a pad brat, and this was the first home outside the military when I was born. All I say about my parents, great people, that they worked, and that we didn't see much of them because of all hours they worked. But back then it was a bit of a tighter family sort of unit. Grandma and granddad were on the same estate, so when we were kids, really young, we got picked up from school with them. We'd go have us tea, go home every night. But like I say, we got really good, strong morals and ethics put into us because we saw how hard as parents worked and what they sacrificed for us to play football. 3 boys eating like football, rugby, all sorts of stuff that were going on, and they were running around like blue-ass flies, providing for 3 kids who probably weren't as respectful, as attentive as they should have been. So it's hard work. You are, but later in life
you don't see it, do you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but later in life you respect how hard they worked, and and actually what that actually ingrained in you without you realising. I was never an academic kid. That sort of university route was never one for me. I come out, I got some GCSEs that were sort of palatable, and then tried college for a bit. Didn't really work out for me. Started doing some sort of labouring work and some bits and pieces. And my dad just one day, I actually tried to join Navy at one point, and they didn't want me. So, and then one day my dad just pulled me to one side. He said, "Look," he said, "if you want to live paycheck to paycheck, that's fine. Live the life you want to live." He said, "But I don't want you doing that in my house." And it was kind of like, what am I going to do next? You know, do I go look for somewhere to live, or do I try and get? And it was a kick up the ass to get a career, basically. He didn't care where I did it or how I did it. So I thought I looked down the military route again, you know, and my uncle had been at Remy, so I thought I might try that route. Went down, did the tests and stuff, and I was working engineering plant at the time as well, so I kind of had a bit of knowledge there. Yeah, and passed salt tests that I needed to pass at Wellington Street in Leeds. Went up to Glencorse, and then did mile and a half running, minus 14 degrees or whatever it is up there.
Good. The summer's day then.
Yeah. You get warmed up, you're going on. It were lovely up there. And then, yeah, just from that, I went down to Pirbright and did the basic training there. And that was my military career.
So when you were a child, did you move about a lot with your dad being in the RAF, or was that later?
Yeah, my older brother did. So my older brother was born sort of Ely, down that way. Because I remember he always got picked on when he moved up here because he had a right posh accent. Yeah, because my mum had done that all her life. She turned around and went, "My kids need roots. I don't want them living like that." So, you know, the option was they bought somewhere, and so my dad stayed, you know, unaccompanied, which they couldn't really afford to do. Or my dad left and tried to, you know, forge a new career on Civvy Street. Fortunately, he was doing radar technician stuff when he left in '78. So, you know, he had a bit of a leg up on Civvy Street on computing and stuff like that. So he managed to get into sort of computer hardware stuff, and he made his career there. But yeah, it was my mum decided that she wanted us to have roots. She wanted us to have somewhere that we called home, that we'd always have somewhere to come back to. You know what I mean? She didn't want us just like her being a bit nomadic. So, you know, and actually, as you say, you know, later in life, that was probably one of the best things she ever did for me.
I get that, because I mean, obviously, I spent a lot of time in the military. My kids grew up in it, you know, and even when we moved back to the UK on my final posting, we still had like a fair few years to go. So we lived behind the wire, you know, we lived on camp. At the same time of me leaving the military, my son was leaving school. So it kind of screwed it all up for him, because he wanted to go, you know, all of a sudden he had to move away from where he was anyway. We'd already moved around loads. You know, he'd lived in Thirsk, and he was born in North Yorkshire, lived in the South Coast, and then Germany a couple of times. Bless him.
Yes.
And my daughter was the same. I remember fucking the first night we moved into our like home, forever home type of thing, you know, when you've left the army. The police car went past and parked outside next door. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? There's a police car. To most people, it's like, oh, there's a police car. I was like, I'm not used to it. And none of us were. All of us were looking out the window like, what's going on? What's going on? But I felt sorry for him that he missed out on a lot of things, because Pads Brats know the Pads Brats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't, and they don't stay near each other's live a lot. So I do feel sorry for the kids who were brought up in the military.
Yeah, they've got to get good at making friends, aren't they? Because they're doing it every couple of years.
Yeah. So what was it like turning up with Pirbright then for training?
So yeah, it was one of those things that, you know, got on train down to London and through London, and you know, you get off at Brookwood Station, and like I say, they put you up minibus and then take you out, and then you become covey crew, don't you, for 2 days till you get your kit. But because it was guards depot, you know, you kind of, they were a bit strict, and it were tough. I was targeted early on because they've got to make someone fail, haven't they? You know, you go through training. They've got to evidence how hard it is to pass out of village training, and I got targeted straight off. So right, we'll make him fail. A bit of a gangly Yorkshire kid, you know. I had no experience at that sort of thing. But what they didn't realise is I was a stubborn bastard, and every time they tried to, I was just like, fuck you, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I just put up with it. And I think that annoyed them more, to be honest. You know, the further I got, the more pissed off they got, because it's like, is he just taking piss out of us now, or what? And it was a case, you know, I just sucked it up, and I thought, well, it's not going to go on forever. and I thought, just grizz it out, put up with it. When I'm tired, obviously, when the beast is a bit too far, I'll throw up. It's just how it is. And and again, I think it made me a stronger person going through that, because you kind of thought, well, I'll just tolerate out now. As long as I know there's going to be an end, you just put up with it, don't you? And I think back then that was a part of the thing that they broke you down to build you up. So I think in that initial stage, it was kind of, they're just breaking me down. It wasn't until later on I actually realised, no, they wanted rid of me. But again, I think I got a sort of modicum of respect off him anyway, to think, well, actually, he's probably got a bit tough here, and he still put it in and stayed on. So, it was tough, but again, it was one of those things. You just do what you got to do, get your head down, and do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, so you don't really have fond memories of phase 1 training.
No, not really at all. I remember getting a fine because I didn't open window in the morning. So when he threw my boots out, it smashed them. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, come on, seriously. I'm not saying my boots were good; they were a bit shit, but it didn't need to throw fruit window.
You've scratched them now.
Yeah. But no, yeah.
But
it's one of those things.
Sorry, I've spoken to loads of people on here. Almost everyone's had a very different experience of being in training and stuff like that. I mean, I'd done junior leaders in 1985. But, it's more or less a whole year of it. I was really lucky. I wouldn't say I look back fondly on it, but I don't. I wouldn't say I miss it, put it that way. But we were lucky that we had some really good instructors and we were treated fairly. But I've listened to loads of stories where people weren't, especially some of the guys who went to Para Depot and stuff like that. Very, very, very different. But you're right; they have to break you down to build you back up and remold you, and you don't even know they're doing it really.
No, I did at the time. Like I say, I don't look back on it and think, oh, what a great time. But I look back at it and think, I learned a lot from it. And I think, as I've gone through life, I've always done that. I take time reflecting, what have I learned from that? Where can I do better, and where can I improve moving forward? And I've always been a bit like that anyway. So yeah, so when I got through it, and then obviously I went to Borden to do my trade training, which is a slightly different environment. You still got that sort of bullshit of being in a phase 2 training establishment, but because you're doing that engineering trade course as well, they've got to allow you to be that semi-conscious to be able to learn the technical skills. They can't be beating you for 3 hours in the morning and expecting you to go learn how to strip an engine down.
So was that what your trade? Was it a vehicle mechanic?
Yeah, I was a vehicle mechanic by trade, yeah. AMEC, so mostly heavy armour. So throughout my career, I worked on Warrior and Challenger and that sort of stuff, 432, and obviously you kick around with a few sort of B vehicles, but my main sort of, all 4 units were all heavy armour.
That's quite cool, that, to be honest. I mean, I like armour, I like engines. I used to drive a Warrior 432s. I lived on them for many, many, many years. To get the packs out and stuff like that. I fucking used to hear when Remy did, when it used to rock up, pull the pack out, and they're on the back of the 434, warm, and then we're sat there thinking, I can't even turn a fucking engine on. So we'll sit on the louvers, you know what I mean, get warm and that.
Yeah.
You hear them giving it in the fucking back of the 434, bastards. But,
no. It was just coffee. Just coffee. Just coffee.
Yeah.
Might have been Bailey's instead of milk, but it was just coffee.
Yeah. So what was it like turning up at your first unit then?
It's training because I don't think basic training ever, or trade training, whatever, your phase 2 never really sorts you out, does it? So you go to your first unit. I was quite lucky because there were some decent kids there that took me under the wing, and there's some obviously that you turn up and they want to bully you and they want to dominate, and again I just shrugged my shoulders and got on with life. But there were the people there that I could listen to and learn stuff from, and there's still a few of them now I speak to today, you know what I mean, and learned my trade, did my bit. I think I was on was it Prairie Eagle, the one in Poland in September. So I rocked up at back end of August, and I was driving. Within a couple of weeks, I was driving a Bedford TM to not Bedford TM, a Bedford MJ to to Poland. You know, the sort of thing where you got rid of roundabout, you had to put your foot on dashboard, didn't you, to get steering wheel around. So, you know, top end of 45 mile an hour out the back of an Hercules. So it wasn't. That was a bit of an experience. 3 days driving a truck up to Poland, and then you know living out in the Ulu, learning to do the job, you know, on trade and that. So again, it was good. People looked after me. You know, you got all shit duties, but that was your job, wasn't it, at times? So, and again, keep your head down, put up with most of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the sprogs then, aren't you? You're just waiting for the next sprog to come in and they get the shit.
You were just waiting for one that was pushed you too far and you snapped, didn't you? And it's kind of, how far do you snap? And then I came back from Poland, that's it, and then we got deployed to Kosovo. So I went out in 99 with King's Royal Hussars. I was part of the border crossing, actually. So we had that excellent idea because we thought it was going to be an aggressive border crossing, didn't we? So the excellent idea, what we'd do is we'd stick our recovery vehicles in front and park them at bridges and crossings and stuff. And if it blowed up, we'd just doze it out of the way. And I was actually a Land Rover leading that convoy. But again, you look back at it, you know, as it went, you think, fucking hell, I did that. Yeah, and I mean, like I say, we set up, and obviously all the stuff went on in Kosovo that did go on with, you know, lines of departure and who are that were at airport and stuff. And then eventually, you know, the Serbians had left, and we went back, and it was all that infrastructure rebuild stuff on it, and then obviously we found out why they were so keen to get out of there, and that's, you know, I wasn't front and centre emptying graves, but I certainly had my fair share of, you know, and of seeing and understanding what they were all about, and yeah, and it fucked my head up.
Yeah, I don't blame you, mate. It's
and as we all did, you know, the first unit, you don't know, you come back, don't you? And back then, you come back off tour, and you just got sent home on R&R. And when I came home, I just struggled to fit in. You know, I didn't feel welcome at my own family's dinner table, and it wasn't them, it was me. You know, I was listening to them tell their stories about what they're up to. I've got 2 brothers whose lives were moving forward, mum and dad, you know, and I'm sat there thinking, you don't fucking need me, do you? I've been over there doing that shit, and your lives have just worked quite well without me. You don't really need me, do you? And I just didn't feel like I fitted in. And again, not them. It was all me.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I really do, because
yeah,
when you come back from something like that, or even just come back on leave, you know, you don't have to have gone through that. I mean, Kosovo was shit, Bosnia was shit, and everyone's already forgot about it. You know what I mean? Bosnia is the only tour that's ever affected me and made me think back and upset us. But you get to the point where you do come on, and everyone else has moved on, and you haven't. But you're also part of another family now.
yeah.
You know, you can't fucking wait to get back to it sometimes.
And that was totally what it was. I was counting down the days to go back to camp. And because camp was Germany, it was so far away as well. There wasn't like that, I'll pop home at weekend and see how they are. You know, you were in Germany. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being posted to Germany. You jump in your car with a couple of lads and just disappearing off around Schengen zone. It was brilliant. Let's say I got back and sort of things weren't right, but I just decided to, you know, we self-medicate with alcohol, don't we, and stuff like that. All clever bits that we do. Yeah, just got on with stuff. You know, I did a couple of Medmans, another couple of Ulan Eagles, and then the KRH arms plotted with RDGs. So I stayed in Munster, extended posting. RDGs come in and transitioned from Challenger 1 to Challenger 2. And then we went out on Save Today, Oman. I was on a plane on September 11th, 2001, flying out to Qatar. So when we landed, we're all like shimmied into this big hangar. Right, don't worry about what's happened in America today. We're going to do the exercise and then decisions will be made. Again, the exercise, we're looking, just spent fucking 24 hours on a fucking plane with what's happening there, you know what I mean? And then obviously news leaked through, and as you know yourself, we all knew rules had changed, didn't we? And So we just got away exercising all man. It was good. It was good for me because it was a dry country. So, you know, it was busy, a lot of work. So I was able to just knuckle down and get on with my job, prove myself as somebody who could do my job. You know, put in a tough position. I was command. I was sort of HQ squadron command troop fitter. You know, so you worked quite independently. And I held my own, thanks to lads I had before me that had taught me. You know, and I gained a lot of respect for how hard I worked and knowledge that I'd gained and stuff. So it's good. I felt really good place. I came back from there, and I got posted to Fally, to Scott's DJs. Cracking place, isn't it?
Well, I know I was in Horner for a long time, so
yeah.
I know the area.
Yeah, it's just driving around that Range Road, dodging a wild boar.
Yeah,
and I came straight to a Sabre squadron, getting on with it. You know, I found my place, fitted in, worked hard, made the impact I needed to make to build a reputation that, you know, I was good at my job and I was hard working. Obviously, I like to have a bit of fun in my downtime.
we all.
Yeah. So I've ever gotten into a bit of bother with that now and again. But and then I actually had a career foul at that point because I think it was. So we started training for Op Fresco, you know, when the fire strikes were on, and we was all sent to Leckenfield, and we were there 2 days, and then we got a thing, right, you need to come back because the vehicles need prepping. They might be going somewhere.
So, painting now.
So obviously we moved straight back to Fally because we were, you know, the sort of on call battalion, and then we got up there, and then I got called into admin office, and I got told, oh, you owe us X amount of thousands of pounds. What? Oh, we've been overpaying you for 3 years. Oh, what? And it turned out what had happened is that they hadn't logged that I'd got my HGV licence, so they'd never put on the paperwork I was a class 2. So they'd never started with class 1 clock that we have in Army. You know, once you get your class 2, you start your class 1 clock, and you're supposed to go on your upgraded course in a certain amount of time. And I was like, you're taking piss at you. I says, I've got my HGV, showed them my driving licence, all this, and hang on. So anyway, so I went through, and then I got an apology from Manning Records saying, oh, by the way, we've been ignoring all your CRs because they lied. They said you had your HGV and you didn't. Yeah, but I did have my HGV, so I was like, you're taking piss. So I was furious at the time. And, you know, I signed off. But I signed off so that I could do my 6 months in Iraq. I'd do the operational tour, and then I'd come back and do my thing. And because I'd signed off, they put me on boat party. So I was boat guard with all wagons. So I had a 4-week cruise from Emden to that Southampton through Bay of Biscay, Mediterranean, Nile, Arabian Gulf to drop wagons off at Q8, which wasn't bad.
Do you know what? I was there when it came in. So I'd flown. I got flown an advance party. I was just fucking there waiting, and then all of a sudden, and I'll tell you what, I remember it coming in. It reversed. As it reversed, it dropped the back door at the back. You know, the ramp down at the back, and it took a chunk out the pier. And I'll remember this forever because the pilot was going mental, and the guys on the dock were going mental because it was a brand new boat.
Big Spanish thing,
voyage, yeah. And they were worried they damaged it. The Poachogis were going, fuck the boat, look at me dock. That was an inch. That was mad how quickly we unloaded that boat.
Yeah.
There was people just driving anything.
Yeah, just like, and like you saying, if it didn't start, it got dragged.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like I said, I was boat guard for that out there. It was, like I say, intense.
A couple of our lads were on that, and I asked him what it was like afterwards, you know, thinking, and he said, just fucking sunbathed in the holiday. He was on stag a few hours a day and did fuck all. I was like, really?
Yeah. And the only time we because yeah, I better not tell you that story because this might be listened to. But like I said, the only time we were to put uniform on was when we were inside a coast.
Yeah.
So No, seriously, because they didn't want, like, say, unless they thought they were the threat, the ship's crew didn't want us in uniform. So, like I said, the only time, so obviously when we were going through Suez, we had to be in uniform. There had to be 2 of us on deck at all times.
I mean, you think about that. If someone had took that boat out, we'd have been fucked.
I got to say, Somali pirates were well tooled up, weren't they?
Oh, look what we found. What's that? That's an AS90. For fuck's sake. Anyone drive it? So, I mean, you've rocked up in Q8.
Yeah.
I mean, then you'd been like the rest of us, wouldn't you? You'd been
Well,
sat
I
in the
got
desert waiting.
yeah. Well, I got off the boat and got promoted to Lance Jack.
Oh, right, okay, that's good then.
So I was like, all right, yeah, fair enough. And then so obviously went out and like everyone else, we got prepped up with, was it Barnsley or something? We parked at one that big sort of sand pit. Everybody's doing everything in Romeo 4. It were annoying as well with that because I was with a Scottish regiment and I was the only Yorkshire bloke in the squadron. So everybody was masked up, NBC suits and that. And the only one they knew that they could get hold of were me because of Yorkshire.
Careful what you say.
It's like, just don't say up, just keep quiet. Yeah, don't make yourself stand out. But no, I'll tell you what, they're a professional bunch of guys. You know, C Squadron's got CGs. We did some bits and pieces that. Yeah, they were tough. I mean, we were detached to 40 Commando. Went through the, well, you remember we came through the back of the R4 Peninsula, didn't we? Well, that was us with 40. And then obviously Basra fell, and we were just shipped around different places, weren't we? And we went and sat on the border for a little bit of Iran and T-52s having pot shots at you. And then we came back into the city. We took over a Basque headquarters for about 6 weeks, if that long. Well, not been that long. And we went downstairs. We were clearing out all the buildings and stuff like that. And actually found torture chamber downstairs. And you realise what's been going on behind closed doors. And it was, again, for young kids, it was an eye opener that you hear about these things, but actually, till you're standing in a torture room, you're looking at all dry blood on floor at walls, you think, fucking hell. And then we were back to log base with everyone else at Shiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the toughest thing out there was like one day you're out there, fighting, and someone made a decision that next day we were floppy hats dishing out water.
Yeah,
and it was
I'm
just
sure you're not supposed to do that as well. I think that's why they got us back home as soon as they could have brought the next Telic 1
yeah,
out.
I think Telic 2 I went to, but he was still, it was still like a month or two of doing all that stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I found it like, everyone was, and I've said it loads of times on this podcast, we went through the border, blah, 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 did our job and everything like that. And most of the locals that we come across were like all cheering. I wouldn't say they're throwing roses at you, but they were all happy to see it. They were fucking chuffed. And then just like changed overnight.
Yeah, as soon as the gangs took over, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was just like,
I remember once we crossed the border, you had all these little shanty towns and stuff, didn't you? And they didn't have a clue what was going on. It was just something different for day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had a toolbox fall off of one of the vehicles, and all kids went and picked it up, put it back in the toolbox, and took it to them. You know what I mean?
They wouldn't do that round here, mate.
Well, they wouldn't do that in Balkans, remember them?
Yeah.
You had to screw rubies onto the lights on your Bedford, otherwise they'd rob them. You go out market and they're drinking tea out of them. But yeah, it was such a strange place, wasn't it? Because like I say, out in the desert, they had no media at all, no news, no Wi-Fi, no papers, no radio. So they're like looking at all these wagons driving for saying, what the hell's going on here? You chucking bottles of water and sticky bars out, and then you get told off by MO because you can't give them sticky bars and don't brush your teeth.
Well, not my teeth, not my kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather throw them a sticky bar than they throw a brick, put it that way. So yeah, it was a weird experience, and like I say, I actually stayed out there and I did my my JMC out there, and I came back home after the JMC, and yeah, every hot parties had been done by then. So I came home and there was a warm can of beer on my bed because lads who flight were coming in. I went down to work the next day. I says, right, I've got to sort out my leave. And Tiffy went, oh yeah, about that. Wagons are expected back in 2 weeks, so you're only getting 2 weeks post-operational leave. And I went, you can go fuck, he said.
Yeah, I think I'd have... Yeah.
What's that, Corporal Brown? I went, you can go fuck, he said. I says, you did less time out there than me. You've all had 4 weeks leave and you've been fuck off for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He says, there's not an open hell that I'm having 2 weeks leave and coming back to do fucking work. I says, it's just not happening.
Don't blame you, mate.
And it's like, it's actually, again, I spoke to this Tiffy later on in life, and we got on really well, not working together. But one of the things he always said to me, he said, you were annoying. He said, because you were a very good leader. And if you decided you weren't doing all, everybody would follow you. He says, so you were a pain in the ass. At times, it was better to just get you on side, just because I knew you had this sort of aura about you that if you got pissed off, everyone else would get pissed off with you. I mean, at that time, like I say, I just snapped. Just went, you taking piss out of you.
I think, in reality, I think anybody would have snapped.
Yeah. Well, I think we negotiated. I got 3 weeks leave. I've still got a week left to everyone else. But yeah, I got up. He said, you'd have 3 weeks, but you got to go now. I was like, for fuck's sake. Yeah, well, that's pretty much what happened, yeah. Straight down the wire dub into the thing, booked a flight and got a mate to give me a lift to Hanover, and that was it. I was on my way home. And then from Scott's Dogs, I signed back on while I was actually in theatre, because the OC at the time just turned around and says, if I can get you on a JMC and get your career back online, will you sign back on? I says, yeah, fair enough then, if you do that. It seems weird that I joined after being in war, but it kind of felt like I'd proved myself, and actually it was a career I could do. So, throw it away out of spite, maybe not the best decision at the time. So I had signed back on, and then I got loaded on my class 1, went back to Borden, did my class 1, and then I got posted to Catterick. Got to Catterick, King O's at the time, Warrior. And then I arrived there as a Lance Jack. Within 12 months, I picked up with Full Screw. And then I was I was moved to a different company, different responsibilities, different roles. I just got on with it and just enjoying it, really. Back doing what I should have been doing. I was doing with spannering, working with young lads, and I think I preferred it when I was away on exercise, because I think there was just less time for bullshit.
And there's a lot of bullshit. I mean, I've not worked with the Remy much, but I've spoken to a few. I've had a couple on here, and I remember years and years back. We had like LADs with us, and we had a main workshops on a camp as well, and we were handing 1 ton Land Rovers back because we were getting new stuff. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I ended up working on them more than the Remy lads. Because I used to be like really into engines and shit like that. And there was a good tiffy in our LAD because we took that rover over the workshops, and no one could get it started. And he just looked at me and he says, look, fucking go play with it. And I was like a fucking kid with a fucking new toy, you know what I mean? Just ripping bits out and putting it back on. And so I got it running in the end. I was well chuffed. But it was good fun. But I've spoken to quite a few lads in the Remy, like I said, afterwards and that. And the amount of there is pressure on lads in the Remy for the career paths, the artificer and stuff like that. And if you don't meet that level, you're kind of fucking stuck. You're not going to go anywhere. So it can be like dead man's shoes, especially in, I don't know, metalsmiths and stuff like that. So there's pressure on us as well. But I've always found the Remy to be quite close knit as well.
Especially because especially if you're LAD or sort of smaller workshops, Italians could be quite cutthroat and ruthless. You've got to stand out in a load of people. It was easy to stand out in a LADs because they want as many of you. And sometimes you go to a unit who appreciated and understood what the Remy did, and you go to other units who are, again, you just a shit cat badge.
Yeah.
So
I'll just interrupt and say one thing there, that And you're not a shit cat badge. It's fucking weird, but it's not shit. The gunsmiths, the gunfitters, the gunsmiths, the gunfitters who were attached to us on Optelic at Debarry. I'll tell you now, them guns wouldn't have survived if it wasn't for them. You know, they were running between them guns, left, right, and centre, keeping them working, keeping them firing. Total respect for Remy for doing that job.
Well, a lot of our work was done at night as well, or was done when he didn't see us working. And that was a thing, and it was understandable, especially for infantry guys. They'd be out on patrol doing this, and they think we're not out on patrol with them. What they realise is we would have a team out on patrol. So I'd have 3 teams. One was on patrol, one was on standby, and one was doing maintenance. So they were never, they were never stood down. And I think sometimes you just didn't always see that, especially when the work was done behind closed doors of a night. And like I say, you had units who proper appreciated and understood that, and you had other units that maybe weren't as aware of the work that was going on, because we didn't turn up on PT parade with them or this, that and the other. They thought we were just mugging them off. And, we weren't on PT parade because we've been down the workshop since, 7:30, because we were going on exercise, so we're doing 10-hour days to get our vehicles ready. But, it just how it was. And we all picked a trade. We chose what job we wanted to do. So, again, I'll always say that I volunteered. I don't tell no sob stories. Everything I've done in my life, I have had a binary choice in it. And I chose the direction I went. So I'll never grumble about how things have turned out.
So you were getting ready for another tour then?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously it was different this time because obviously the other operation I'd done with tanks, and I was going out with Warrior of the Armoured Infantry. So it was kind of a different experience. We went out in 2006. We took over Old State Building on November the 1st, 2006. November the 5th, 2006. Jamie Hancock was killed coming out of a Sanger. And for a lot of the kids, it's the first time they'd ever known anybody die. And it kind of, it's that wake-up call that this is legit, this is real, this is not, it's not Salisbury Plain anymore. And it was tough, it was really tough. You got, all NCOs and that have, most of them have done tours, and they're now trying to say, look, stick to your training, try and educate, try and inspire your lads, and they're thinking, that fucker's dead, yeah, we're sending him, he's going back in a box next week, and unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. This is what your job is, and that's why you need to switch on effectively.
It was a very different tour in 2006.
Yeah, I think was it. So that's Telic 9. I think was it Telic 7 where the helicopter went down? Do
you know what? I can never remember the numbers. I mean, I was out there in 2006.
Yeah.
It was the last tour I did.
I think it was back end of 4. Yeah. The helicopter went down, didn't it?
Mm.
And there was a little girl killed in recovery mission. And it went Kimbanzai. And Telic 6, I think there were 25 killed and about 75 severely injured, which at the time it was the worst operational tour since the Falcons. Obviously, it got superseded about 2 years later when Panther's Claw started in Afghanistan. But at the time, like you said, it was I think that was the year when everyone went shit, And
we landed, and we were in Basra Palace, and on one of the first nights, like I worked. Luckily, I was in the ops room then. I was fucking downgraded. I don't know why I was out there. There was a patrol went out. They took our lads out to show them the lie of the land, and the sergeant who was leading the patrol actually stood on an IED, and it was fucking good night Vienna for him.
And
yeah. That opens your eyes, and it was the end of his tour as well. That was the worst thing. It's always a fucking same, and it was the end of his tour.
Was the generally start and end, wasn't it? When we got smashed. Yeah.
It's just like the young lads who've never seen anything, inexperienced and all that. It fucking made them wake up. It showed that it wasn't going to be a jolly, and it wasn't.
Yeah, like you say, it's almost horrific to lose someone, but in essence, it probably kept others alive.
Yeah, it wakes, it fucking pulls your shit together, basically, in other words.
Yeah, makes it all real, doesn't it? Well, like I say, so I went out, so later in the tour, December 6th, 2006, I went out with Bulldogs, and we were on a patrol. We're in Al Qibla, which, if you go over the bridge from the Shivelog Base into the city centre, there was that shanty town at right hand side, just at the other side of the bridge. That was Al Qibla, and there was always shit going down in there, wasn't there? And we went in there, we all kicked off, we subdued the enemy, and then as we went to pull out the area, the Zero Bravo call sign, we couldn't move. I took the Warrior back in to hook up the Bulldog. The insurgents realised what was going on, so they had a bit of a turkey shoot. We managed to get the vehicle hooked up, the casualty vehicle hooked up to my vehicle. I jumped back on the weapon system, tried to inform the baddies that I was fucking not very impressed that they were shooting at me. And then that's when the driver went, "I can't fucking see, mate." So tried to use a weapon system to see if it was clear for him. Bear in mind, the weight of the vehicles, there's folk on board. You've got massive draining ditches either side at roads, haven't you? The last thing you want to do is fucking put it in a ditch. So I can't see fuck all through sight either, mate. So I put my head out the top. I said, if you just go straight, you're good. Go. And that's at that point I went to pull my head back in the turret to get back on the weapon system, and I just felt the impact on the side of my face. So the bullet hit me on the left cheek and come out my right cheek. As you can imagine, it ruined me Wednesday morning.
Yeah, a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it pissed me off.
A little bit.
But I was fortunate. I think the shoot was about 250 metres away. It was an untampered round. It wasn't a deflection, so it had true trajectory, just straight through and through. I was lucky that it didn't knock me out.
Did you understand what had happened?
Yeah, I kind of, yeah and no. I didn't think we'd been blown up. I knew I'd been hit by something, but I couldn't have told you what. And yeah, so I kind of, obviously I've dropped down onto the seat in Commander Hatchet Warrior, and you know yourself, they're not very accessible, are they, the Warriors? So I'm kind of there like that. I don't know, but I was conscious. And because I'm conscious, I'm thinking, it can't be that fucking bad. Surely if it were bad, I wouldn't be thinking about it. My palate collapsed, so my jaw broke in 4 places, my palate collapsed, and I was suffocating. But I managed to get, so I, at first field, my hands were covered in blood, and I couldn't open first field dressing, so I threw it to the third man. He opened it up for me, passed it back up quickly. So I've put that on my face and did a shite job of covering that up. But then I realised I'm not fucking breathing here. I sort of had to put my tongue in my mouth and open my fucking palate up so that I could breathe. And then, then 25 minutes later, we got to the medical facilities at Basel Palace. And again, some of this is what's been told back to me, as much as, not really memory. So what I do remember is they were at the top of the turret looking in, Capola looking in, going, fucking hell, he's a big lad, how are we getting him out? And I just ripped my body armour off and climbed out. And at that point, there was a big cheer went up, because all that gone over at radio was Sunray 2-4 Alpha headshot. So they all thought fucking game over, you know what I mean? And the fact that it wasn't, it was fucking alive, it was a big fuck you to them. Helped off the vehicle, put onto a stretcher. At that point, starting to panic and get a bit fucking leery. And next thing I know, it's good night, Vienna.
I mean, were you in a lot of pain?
No. I thought I was, and I've had this explained to me since, but yeah, your brain was saying, something's not right, so I'm just going to tell you you're in pain. Because the other thing was I carried that fucking coffin round. 3 operational tours, God knows how many exercises. The one time I fucking get injured, I'm not allowed to use it because it's an head injury. Talk about kicking nuts. You know what I mean?
I'll save this for later.
So I had emergency tracheotomy done. Like I said, and then they just pumped me full of drugs and put me to sleep. I was told later that the vehicle was that badly damaged it was retired that day.
Bloody hell.
There was an unexploded RPG in one at Road Wheels by all accounts, and It looked like a cheese grater. So anyway, it did its job, did the armour, didn't it? Yeah, and apparently the driver at the time had gone the wrong way around the one-way system, and the RSM was having a bit of a chunter at him. Until they saw me coming out of the vehicle, and he kind of wound his neck in a little bit. But yeah, so that was 11 a.m. local time, Wednesday the 6th of December. By 3 a.m. local time, Friday the 8th of December, I was in the back of a blue light ambulance on my way from Birmingham International Airport to Selly Oak Hospital.
It's not bad going, really, is it?
No, there was. So apparently the GOC at the time, Sharif, was in town, and he wanted to find out why his flight had been cancelled or delayed, and it obviously been delayed for me. Now, he wasn't upset about it. He just wanted to. So he actually took an interest in the cake, because he knew if flights had been showing around, there was obviously someone quite serious. So he took an interest, and as I said before, my dad being military, when he was in the hospital, Sharif come up to him and says, "You're ex-forces, are you?" And he says, "Right, here's the report. This is what happened." Because he trusted my dad to read the report and keep quiet, not go running to media and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I spent 17 days, 18 days in drug-induced coma, listening to everything.
From now?
Yeah, I listened to everything. I thought I was under for about 6 months, because it's like living in a dream. When you have a 5-minute dream and it feels like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't want to have my dreams for that long, Jesus.
Imagine not being able to wake up from it. So the only time I kind of wasn't listening or dreaming was when I was under anaesthetic when they do surgeries. So I could hear all the beeping, I could hear everything going on. I could hear other casualties coming in and out. I could hear my parents talking to me. I found out I'd lost my sight while I was in the coma, because my dad was about to drag fucking surgeon over bed. He just turned around and it's going, "Yeah, well, we're not going to worry about his eyesight. Both his eyes are fucked." And my dad says, "They're not." I says, "You can't say that, for one." I said, "Because he's in there fighting for his life, and we need him to keep fighting." And he rolled his eyes at my dad at that point, nearly grabbed him. And then my dad said, he said, "Watch this." He turned light on, and there was a reaction in my right eye. And my dad said, "That did something." "Oh, no," he said, "that fucking did something. Get that torch. That did something." And there was life in the right eye. But what had happened, so my left eye had the optic nerves ripped off. So both cheekbones were shattered, jawbone blocked in 4 places. My nose was kaput. All the internal bits of my nose were gone. My left eye had its optic nerve ripped off. My right eye had been squashed like a tennis ball, and there was a scar on the retina, but they didn't know where the scar was. But also there was a lot of swelling around that as well. So until that swelling went down, they had no idea what they were looking at. And then all the nerves in my face were gone. So they were all cauterized and killed. So I've still got facial paralysis now, nearly 20 years on. So when I came out of coma, all I had was light perception. That was it. And I knew lights run off, and within a couple of days, I was starting to see a little bit more shadow, but still no. But you're still in the back of your head, you're thinking that they don't fucking know. I'll get through this. I'll be all right. It's just for now. And a big metal frame on my face, holding my skull together and stuff. And yeah, I wanted to hide in. I wanted to hide in ward, just in corner, just not engage. And then one of the military nurses, he decided to move me into. There's like a bay with a load of other kids from Iraq and Afghan, and he moved me into that bay, which was nice because you kind of felt. I felt better than I did with well, in other one, an old man stealing me yogurt, bastard. So and I had another kid opposite me who had not taken he had a diabetic problem, and he'd fallen down steps, broke his leg, and then he wouldn't take his painkillers, and it's just I wanted to get up and throttle him. And I was put in ward with all other squaddies and that, and again another military medic come up to me. He says he's Coat Brown. I've been called that for a while. I said, "Well, you need to be Coat Brown right now." I said, "Why's that?" And there was a young Marine to right him, he'd lost his leg, but he'd also lost his mate. And he was crying himself to sleep every night. And then when his family turned up, yeah, I'll be all right, I'll be all right. And then as soon as his family went back to crying, he says, you need to talk to him. He says he needs to speak to someone that's been there. He needs to speak to someone that understands what he's going through. So I just had a couple of chats with him, and it seemed to help out. I know his auntie came and sort of said thank you to me afterwards. So
Did you
it was
find
pretty
that helped you as well?
massively. I felt purpose again. But the problem I had, I won't lie, I was planning how to kill myself because I thought when I got told I'd lost my sight, I just felt fucking cheated. I felt robbed. You know what I mean? I'd done everything right, and this was my reward, and I just felt robbed.
I can understand that.
And because of my lack of understanding of what my life could be like, all I could focus on everything I'd lost. That's the military for you. You get perspective pretty sharpish, don't you? You find out a couple of people you know have been killed. You suddenly think, actually, fucking hell, I'm not really a victim here. I'm a survivor in general. So I need to get up here. I need to stop giving up. Start focusing on what I've kept instead of what I've lost. And that's what I did. I sat there and thought, well, I'm going to get out of the hospital, but I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm going to do something. And, and that was when we started having an honest conversation with parents about what was going to happen next and, what opportunities were available. But I knew I still had a long journey to go on the clinical side of stuff as well. 10 years in total. I was 10 years, 25 operations to reconstruct my face. My left eye was removed. There was a little bit of work done on my eyes to prevent infections. And I retained 25% vision in my right eye. So it's like opening your eyes underwater or looking through frosted glass. So there's something there to use, but it's not, it's not great. But as I say, it was something I had to use, and it was just a case of then learning how to do it properly. And that took me out to Blind Veterans UK because hadn't it been for them, first of all, they introduced me to other people who'd achieved stuff in life, and you think, all right, so I'm not breaking down new barriers here. I'm just following up people that have done it before me, and then obviously they teach you how to use the kit, and they teach you what's available and show you opportunities that are out there. So I was able to sort of, while I was going through surgery for the first couple of years in the military, I was able to do bits and pieces with them to prepare myself. I then looked into Armed Forces Compensation Scheme, pension, GIP, and I figured out that if I got discharged at this time, that's my best pension.
What, you're going? No, not yet.
Twice did that. Yeah, they tried to. I've had 3 discharge dates. First 2, I booked myself on a course, and I had a friendly sergeant major who signed me off. So they can't kick out while they're on a course, can they? So I just signed myself on the courses, and we'll put another date in there, no problem. And then obviously when I got to that window, I thought, yeah, I knew my career was done in the military. I knew that was my time done, and it was time to start trying to do something new. So yeah, and obviously at that time I got the mental health stuff went a bit awry,
which is understandable.
Yeah, I was lucky again though that my dad spotted it. I think my mum spotted it as well. And he said you need to speak to someone. He said you can't go through life just only having one emotion, which was anger. And then I went and spoke to my sergeant major, with sort of the guy who was looking after me. I said I need to speak to someone. I'm struggling, and he got in touch with the military CPN. I spent 6 to 9 months working with them. Got things in, reducts in a row, understood what was going on. And by understanding what was going on, I was able to put things in place and come up with coping strategies and stuff like that. And what they figured out is not doing injuries. It was all that bullshit back in '99 that when I sat at that dinner table, not talking to my parents and telling them what was wrong. That's when I fucked myself up. So yeah, so again,
I mean, I'll reiterate what you're saying there. There's a lot of people I've spoken to You know, if they've been diagnosed with PTSD or complex PTSD, the complex PTSD is normally stuff that's happened usually before service and stuff like that. And a lot of guys in the military got, you know, histories like that. But the PTSD is normally not what the immediate thing is that's happened to them. It's stuff that's underground. And, you know, I'm not fucking trying to impose on your story when I mention it myself. But that's what happened to me. There was something else that box was full and something else happened and all of a sudden it fucking burst out and I was having panic attacks and anxiety attacks and I'd never had them before. They were fucking scary. And I went and sought help and that turns out partly of what was going on was stuff that I'd seen years and years and years and years ago. You know, and experienced years and years ago. Not the recent stuff. It was the stuff that you'd like put in the back of your head and lock the key and forgot all about it. And it was just waiting there to fucking explode again.
Yeah, nibbling away and creating its own reality when it was going to get you. But that was it. So, yes, I got that treatment. I got discharged from the military in 2010. I was fortunate, like I say, I got a decent pension, which meant I got helped out with my family. I bought my own. So, injured 2006, ended 2007. My grandma died of cancer not long after I got injured, and I bought her house off the family. So I had a house, you know, I had somewhere to live, and they helped me out with all that sort of stuff.
And you were back home around your family.
Yeah,
as well,
back in the community where I grew up.
Yeah.
Back all going, like I said earlier, that one of the best decisions Mum ever made was to make sure that we had a home, we had roots, and like I say, when it came to it, and I needed a base, I needed somewhere to belong. I had it. And yeah, I used to play rugby for the local team and stuff like that. So I had a lot of good mates around here that I got on with. They were bastards, really, because when I was feeling bad for myself, they'd come and kidnap me and get me pissed and then leave me on the doorstep. So yeah,
I was going to say, how did the community treat you?
It was strange. You know, at first I felt everyone was looking at me and this, that, and the other, and when I changed my actual perspective of why I was being looked at, you know, there was admiration, there was respect, and it's something that my dad said to me as well. He says, you know, you've done something well when everyone else takes ownership. So,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, you're there, lad. You know that you're local, this, that, and the other, and you just kind of, I just got on with it. You know what I mean? And I was trying to move forward, but I was struggling. I was being supported. My life wasn't being made more difficult at all. So I had that freedom to try and rebuild. And that's what I did. Like I say, with Blind Veterans Help, I got on. I went to college. I trained as a teacher. Found I didn't like kids. Yeah, I didn't like kids. It was a shit career choice.
Fucking, I was going to say, were you Greg Davies?
Yeah. So,
I wouldn't want to be a teacher. I think I'd probably one of the hardest jobs you could do.
Well, I was working with youth offending team as well and stuff like that. So it's kind of, but I wasn't in the right place either myself. So, you know, they were coming in with all their issues and, you know, it's not my fault. And I'm thinking, it is, isn't it? It's not my fault I didn't get here on time. My mum didn't set me alarm. That's your fucking fault, isn't it? Yeah, so it wasn't really the right place for me to develop and move forward. So I kind of sacked that off. And then I started working with blind veterans in their marketing team, doing a lot of their engagement externally with NHS and partnership development work. I'm still doing that job today. You know, that was from 2012, so 13 years I've been doing that job. And that involved travelling independently. So I had to learn how to get around the country as a blind person using public transport, this, that, and the other.
Oh, wow, so, was that?
At first, it's really difficult. I mean, the number of trains I got on went the wrong fucking way. But
I shouldn't laugh, but it is fucking funny.
But but that's what you did. You know, you just got on with it. You know, and trial and error and things like that. And you know, I mean, it's got a lot easier with 3 words and stuff like that now. But you know, at the time it was really difficult. But you know, you just learn to put up with it. One of the toughest things was learning to be patient. Learning that, you know, I couldn't do everything as quick as I used to do it before or as easily. So I just had to take a step back, take a breath, be patient, tolerate the issues, and just get on with it. And like I said, right back to the day of basic training, that's what I do. I step back, I learn, and I get on. Yeah, so I did all that, and I started I met a good lad called Sammy Horner who was he was involved with Leeds Rhinos Foundation, and he said, "Oh, you want to come along and do some stuff for us?" So I started working with Leeds Rhinos rugby team and their foundation, outreach programs and stuff like that. And yeah, got on with that and moved forward and
It's
just
giving
up.
you purpose again. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was just I was working, doing the job, and I was only working. Well, I started working full time, and that wasn't working for me with all travel. It was just too stressful. I said, "Can I work part time?" So I went out part time hours with them, and then I had something to do at home as well. And yeah, I just got on with that, and it was a good laugh and enjoyed it. And that led to other opportunities working with, I worked with on personal development. I worked with Warrington Wolves. I worked with England rugby union team when Stuart Lancaster was in charge. I then decided to do a couple of Stuart challenges, so I went out to Sahara and did a 100-kilometre trek, and Costa Rica coast to coast. Again, it was just challenging myself, seeing where I was and who I was and stuff like that. So just picking up new challenges and getting opportunities and
I've
just
spoken to people
trying new stuff all the time. Yeah,
who do challenges, and and it's all about pushing themselves, and not proving to other people. I don't need you to fucking feel sorry for me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel sorry for myself enough, type
Yeah.
of thing. And you just go out when you do it, and you push through, just to prove to yourself, really, not other people. Yeah,
It's just a test.
yeah.
It's purely a test, to see where I am, who I am.
I'm in the Sahara though. Fucking hell, I thought you'd had enough of deserts.
Well, that's what I thought when I came back. But actually, I went out there with my best mates, and we had time as lives out there. I mean, so I tell you, Phil Robb, one of my best mates, and one of the top 25 industrial chemists in the country, I think. And when we played rugby, we had to tape one of his wrists up so he knew left and right calls. And I literally, when I got shot on the Wednesday, I literally spoke to him on the Sunday. I'd rung up to find out what the rugby result was.
Fucking hell.
And while we're talking to him, we got mortared at OSB. He said, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, we're getting mortared, mate. I'm going to have to get off." He said, "Keep your head down." Went, "Fuck off, Phil. Who listens to you?" Broken watches right twice a day. Yeah. But I did the Sahara check with him, and we had a good laugh, like I say. And he, as a guide dog, he was shit. I think he found the only bush for me to walk through in the entire desert. Strapped my legs
every
up.
hole.
Yeah. Every rock to fall over. But we had a good laugh out there. And again, it was an opportunity to test myself, see where I was, and see where my head was, and that sort of stuff. And then, in 2018. I've had loads of opportunities and some really cool stuff. In 2018, I got approached by Rhinos and went, "Look, we're trying to set up this disability team. You want to help out?" So I said, "I'll give it a go." I said, "I'll do a bit of coaching if you want and some, a bit of publicity to help, recruit some players." I ended up playing it first ever game, scoring it, get myself a meat pie, and ended up playing for 4 years. I thought, well, I'm fat, I'm 40 and I'm blind. Why not give rugby league a go again?
What fucking hard's that? I mean, obviously, because I'm not fucking blind, so I can't appreciate. I don't like rugby anyway. I played it a couple of times. I got caught in a scrum and squashed. Didn't like it, But I mean, how?
You just, like you say, muscle memory, running ball and stuff. You just learn to run lines and
I've got this thing in my head saying, right, there's a fucking bell in the ball.
No, that's there is a form of rugby union that does that. No, it's not ball.
I was taking a piss, mate. I didn't realise.
Yeah, no, not rugby union does that. But no, this is just a case of getting the call and then put in the right place for me to catch it and just move forward. So that led to opportunities. I played a couple of times at Edinley. Yeah, I've got a couple of tries at Edinley, which were obviously for me as a Leeds Rhinos fan, massive. I even played at Anfield in a curtain raiser type game. So, and then during the World Cup, I was also brought in to do a little bit of commentary on the PDRL World Cup, which was great because my mates were playing in it. So I was doing a bit of commentary for BBC on that one, which was pretty special. Yeah, it's pretty cool like that. They never paid me. Maybe I just won't pay my TV licence for a couple of years.
He never said that, honest, he didn't.
No,
They'll be
seriously,
knocking
they
at your
didn't.
fucking door, mate.
Yeah, no, I never got paid. But no, I want to get an half-price TV licence because I'm blind. That's Jen up, that and all.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't pay it, mate, because I don't watch telly, so I'm all right.
But yeah, you know, great opportunities came from rugby stuff as well. You know, and then for some stupid reason, I got asked to get involved in a bit of politics. So
I was going to say, how did you move from that to that?
yeah, so I got approached by local sort of independent group. I just said, look, we need someone on council. We're co-opting. Would you mind? So I said, I'll give it a go. So co-opting is where you basically put a CV, you do an interview, and the councils vote on who they want. So they asked me to come on, and then a year later, I stood in an election and won a seat back. And then things went on, and out of the blue, I was asked if I'd stand for Leeds City Council because of stuff had gone on, and they were struggling to get somebody in that spot. I said, and I thought, well, yeah, paper candidate, I'll do it for you. I stood, and I won that and all. So I ended up being a Leeds City Councillor as well. But in that same year, I was also voted by my own town council to be the mayor. So I spent a year as mayor too.
Bloody hell.
You kind of, yeah, you just like, and you do your pinch, you what the fuck's going on in my life? What's happened here? But I guess the message from that was just grizz it out. You know, be a decent person, do good stuff, and people do pay attention. You know, and it was really nice when we had the St George's Day parade and sort of they announced the dignitaries. We all got to the local rugby pitch and kids doing their oath of allegiance and all that, and veterans there, and they introduced all dignitaries, and and the Mayor of Morley, Simon Brown, a big cheer went up, and I had a tear in my eye because my dad wasn't there. I lost my dad in 2018 to cancer, and there were a tear in my eye thinking my dad would have loved this. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was a bit of a special moment that was just missing the cherry. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I say, now I'm 2 years into a term of a city councillor. Still working with Blind Veterans UK, doing bits and pieces with them. I'm involved with Kazivat Club, so we've done a bit of support for Ukrainian rehabilitation services and stuff. Still involved. I'm still coaching rugby, still coaching disabled kids at rugby. In fact, they just won league of my team this year. Then I'm in a good place, mate. You know what I mean?
I mean, to give you your due, I mean, I've watched your story and I've listened to you tonight. If somebody's got resilience, I think it's you. And for you to sit there and say, I don't blame anybody else. It was my choice to join the military, was and stuff like that. And you're not wallowing in it, which I think is amazing. It really is. I mean, I like I say, I can't understand what it would be like to lose your sight. It's of all the senses that I wouldn't want to lose, it would be that one. It really, I just take my hat off to you to the way you've handled it and survived. And a lot of people don't. Some people don't, and it goes the other way, unfortunately. Like David Rathband, what happened to him? Don't want to try and use that as an example, but for you to just fucking get where you are now, I think it's amazing, absolutely amazing, and I take my hat off to you for that.
Well, like you say, mate, that they in the hospital bed. I'm not a victim, and you know yourself. I've lost mates along the way who couldn't win that final battle, and that has also kept me sort of. Oh, it's been a roller coaster, but you kind of think some of these people that I've lost have been some of the strongest individuals I thought I knew. You kind of it worries you a bit when you go, well, if it can break them, I need to be on guard because it'll break me. So, that's what I do. And I'm fortunate. I live in a great community. I've got really good friends. In fact, I'm going to Hungary for one of the 50ths this weekend. So, we're on the way to Hungary for a few nights. So, that's the kind of group I'm with at home, in my own community, my friends. My mum's still around, and I spend a lot of time going and seeing her. She struggles a bit with disability and that. I've got my two brothers. We're not like in each other's pocket brothers, but we're certainly there when we need each other. So yeah, I'm fortunate that I've got a great network around me, and and I'm also, there's been opportunities in my life that I've been in a good place to take them and use them to advantage. Whereas sometimes people will get an opportunity, they'll take it, and it won't go the way they want, and it can knock them further back than it brings them forward. So there's a lot of soul searching when you look at, what am I ready to do, and what do I need to say no to, and I think I've been quite fortunate along that pathway to know what I'm not ready to do yet, and what I'm willing to fail, so that I'll give it a go.
I mean, have you ever felt under pressure from other people to try and use you as their fucking flag, for want of a better term?
Yeah, in the early days, and sort of, yeah, that happened, and it's difficult learning to say no. But as I've got older and as I've got more belligerent and grumpy, I've learned to say no, and I've learned to be a little bit selfish. And say, yeah, look, I appreciate what you're trying to achieve. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you know what? I've got enough on my plate at the moment, and that's not one of my priorities. Come see me in a year or two's time when my life's different, then I might be able to do something for you. But yeah, one of the toughest things is saying no to people, and making sure that actually you're doing what you need to do, not what people want you to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that go wrong so many times for other people where they've been asked for stuff and they've said no, and it's the person who's been told no fucking goes apeshit and
Yeah,
starts to try and destroy the person and stuff.
I've had that, and I just, like I say, just crack on. It's like, I've got my pension now. Fuck you.
So, what's your plans for the future? You got any more challenges you think of doing? Or
No, there's no on the horizon. Like I say, I'm in a content place in life. I've got another couple of years of the council, and I'll think about whether or not I'm going to restand when that comes up. I'm not closed door to new challenges, but at the same time, I think that there's nothing out there that really sort of excites me to go, I want to go do that. So yeah, it's just a case now of, I'm in a place where I can pick the opportunities that I look forward to. I've been working a lot with a mate recently with the Rhinos on their suicide prevention and mental well-being stuff, and I've really enjoyed that, in a sense of, it sounds terrible that I really enjoyed that, but I've enjoyed being in that cauldron of talking to people, and it's what you get back from that. So when you get someone who comes and says, look, I needed to say something, and I think I can say it to you. So I think the problem with the masculine world and masculine sort of environments is, we do feel that pressure to not be the one asking for help, but almost the one that gives the help.
it's one of the hardest questions you will ever make yourself ask someone. That's what I found anyway.
Yeah, and like I said, I think language around stuff and the way people describe things, it doesn't help. Everything's sensationalized these days, isn't it? And
Well, if you go back to what you were saying about with your family, and you couldn't wait to get back to the regiment, right? But you weren't going to fucking talk to anyone in the regiment about it. You weren't going to talk to anyone back at battalion. You weren't going to say, "Oh, lads, this, that, the other." I mean, I know what it was like then.
yeah,
It's I've spoken to lads who are serving now, and they say it's changed a lot, but it's still not brilliant. You've still got that masculine fucking environment where it's still hard to say, "Look, I've got a problem." Some people do it, some people can't. But back in the day, it was just it didn't exist.
Well, that kind of worries me a bit that people, I've chatted to a few mates of your senior ranks now getting towards end of time or doing a bit of LE stuff. And they're on about, that young lads have got, they're all got anxiety and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking that's, it's obviously brought in, but it worries me because what are they going to do when they deploy?
I think
Because
that's what they might need.
potentially,
Yeah.
might square them away. But it does concern me that, do we have the resources in place to deal with what could potentially be, a tsunami of people with, heavy mental health conditions as opposed to minor mental health conditions.
Well, I think since 2003, it's become more apparent that, and especially with like the guys coming back from Afghan and all the charities that are there to try and help. That it's become more apparent and it's easier for people to seek help. But there's still plenty of guys out there, our ilk, our age, our era.
Well, them above us as well, the banner guys.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but I was like not using Telic as an example because I know like my issues would be before Telic, since then the public perception or the public knowledge is been, their eyes have been opened a bit more, but now because Afghan's over, Iraq's over, nothing's happening again. We've just fucking fallen foul of it. We're not in the limelight as much as we were before. And I'm finding in the last year or so, which has opened my eyes a lot, that it's veterans who are looking after veterans. So that the places I got involved with that I needed help with were started by veterans, and the councillors aren't veterans. I'll sort of mind saying that a couple of the councillors are veterans, or the councillors that are working there have got links with veterans and stuff like that, so they understand the mentality a bit more. But you find that most of the helping organisations out there at the moment have got, they started with veterans, and because they needed help, this, that, and the other, and some of the bigger ones don't maybe do as much as they can, which is a harsh thing to say because I know they've got to have a limit on what they can do. And again, like we were saying earlier, if somebody says no to you, you're going to get someone's backup type of thing. But it seems like the organisations are there, but they're not getting publicised as much as they were, or we aren't getting. It seems as if we're not getting the help that maybe we should, or the recognition that we should.
Yeah, like I say, there are programs out there and projects out there that are doing stuff, but it's, as you say, if you don't know someone that knows something, it's very difficult sometimes to get yourself in that pathway.
Yeah, I mean the Op Courage for me was the stepping stone, and that worked for me. Where I live in like Northumberland, it's the hospital wait lists up here aren't as bad as it is say in Leeds or Manchester or Liverpool or London, that type of thing. So I think I got seen quite quickly. I was in within a month, but there's some places I've spoken to guys who've asked for help and they're still waiting, and if anyone comes to me, I always try to push them to the services that I went through, which you don't need to go to Courage, so the East Timor Veterans Trust over and see them. They'll take on anyone. They don't even have to be from the northeast. I've seen them talk to guys on the south coast. Either signpost them that way or help them, over the phone type of thing. So but it's getting the knowledge out there that these places exist as well.
Well, that's it, yeah. And if these services don't get used, they will get lost. So you got to ensure that everybody goes through it, and and actually, if these services do get overloaded, then there's an argument for resource. I know there isn't much resource, but we'd like to say these things need to stay in place because, let's face it, we're on the precipice of another major overseas deployment, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it's going to happen.
I mean, I'll mention something after this, which will be interesting. I don't really want to put it out on a podcast because I might get fucking shot down in flames type of thing. Right, so we've been on an hour and 20, and I don't want to use too much of your evening because obviously we started recording this one late as well.
No worries, buddy.
But honestly, thank you for coming on. I wish you all the luck in the future. Good luck with your political assignations. I don't know. Don't know where that's going to go. I've not asked you what party you are, so we'll leave that one there.
I'm independent, so all right.
So you can
I
say
guess-
what the fuck you want then.
Yeah, no, I'm independent, so I can just upset everybody.
Right, I'll stop the recording now. Again, thanks for coming on, mate. I've really loved it.
All right, cheers.
I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I enjoyed recording it. If you could just hit the like button, and also if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell, that'd be great, because it'll help the channel grow. The more people will see it, the bigger it'll get, and the more guests I can get on, and the more people I can talk to. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, like I said. Look forward to the next one. Hopefully we'll be out next week as normal. Bye-bye now.